Are we live? Hey, folks, it's your host of the kitchen table, Dustin Bruce. I'm back again. I know it has been a while. I apologize. I have been busy working on many things. I'm a man of many talents, and I like to stretch myself too thin. But here we are. It is August 17th, 2025, and it is 21:01 Central Standard Time. And here I am from my bunk room in the firehouse at work. And let's talk about what's been going on. Uh, First, I'm excited to put it out here for everybody else that I have started a Facebook page, also called The Kitchen Table. And as you can imagine, The Kitchen Table on Facebook is all about good eats because everything happens at the kitchen table. Let me resize this so it fits. Wonder if that does anything. Hey, there we go. Something's finally working out for once today. We're only an hour late. I was trying to start this at 8 o'clock, and of course there's problems with the GoPro, which is why the screen looks all grainy. We're not getting as good video quality because the GoPro and the computer and the network and the firewall, they all aren't jiving, and they're uncooperative. Um, but oh, I'm sure everyone is also noticing that my mustache is much shorter. It is coming back. It's getting nice and full, but it's definitely not where it used to be. Unfortunately, let's we'll talk about that real quick because that may have something to do with some of the things that are coming up and availability and what's to happen with the channel in the future and all that kind of good stuff. So most of you that know me probably know that I've been in the Maryland Army National Guard for over 20 years. Uh, this year was 21 in March of 2025 since I raised my right hand and pledged a blank check oath to this country to defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I had planned on retiring. I was done. 20 years is long enough. 21, pretty good stretch. So, long story short, they kind of messed around, and it wasn't anything on my end that went wrong. It was that the Maryland Army National Guard did not want to, in fact, let me retire. They wanted to keep yours truly around because apparently Sergeant Bruce does something magical with machines and able to fix things, and they need that. So they have asked me to stay for a period of time. And the plan is that there's a possibility of another deployment in my somewhat near future. So we're going to hold out for that. But once that's done, I'm done. That's it. Retired. So along with that, a couple months ago, I had to actually go up and do drill in person. I had to actually show up and had to be within Army regulations. AR 670-1 for you military folk uh, covers uh, wear and appearance of the uniform and grooming standards. And as you can already guess, my mustache was wildly out of regs. So, in order to make nice with them, I trimmed it, and at one point, I even cut it all off just to let it all grow back and give it a fresh start because I had some hairs that were going wild in there, and uh, I didn't want to go through and try and pluck it, and I tried cutting it and evening it up and edging it, and ended up not doing so well with that. So I decided let's just cut it all off and do a fresh new start. Gave my face a chance to air out underneath and have a break. But as you can see, it's still on its bullshit. One side does something nice, and then the other side just lazy as it just does whatever. It does what it wants to do. So anyway, but we've been letting it grow back. Work's been gracious enough to allow me to do that as long as I keep it somewhat decent. And going around looking like the Lorax is usually not an option. So uh, that's the story on that. We'll see where things go. In a couple months, I may be on an extended trip back to Maryland, uh, leading up to the deployment because of my extra duties in the Guard and part of my job, assisting with the mobilization for the deployment and stuff. So I'll try and let you guys know what to expect. But we're gonna try and keep the channel going, even if we go overseas, as long as there's connectivity and all that stuff. I'm gonna stay, connected to the fire service, uh, just as much as I can, you know. So moving past that, uh, some exciting things that I've also started doing. We have the kitchen table Facebook page, and some of you may have seen it in some of the what's for dinner at the firehouse and cooking in the firehouse and such groups. I try and share stuff in there quite often. Uh, if you don't know, I do most of the cooking for dinner and usually breakfast and stuff, whether it be here at work or uh, at the volunteer station, because I'm pretty much living in Pleasant View now, and I do quite a few shifts part time there. I do a lot of cooking, and I'm also working on a class. Well, I'm working on three of them actually, but the one that this pertains to is called Have a Heart, and it's something that we're going to talk about tonight. I know a lot of people have feelings about uh, firefighter cancer, and that is a very prevalent issue. But I think something that's being overlooked that could also uh, be be addressed, and something that we can more easily take care of and handle if we try. If we put our heads and hearts and motivation into it, I'm pretty sure that we could do something to help with the heart disease problems. Because if you've been in the fire service for any period of time, you know that a lot of firefighters die from cardiac issues, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. I know there's been things that have come out in the recent years to help combat that. Like the Heart Smart paging systems at night, so we're not getting interrupted with the volume all the way up right away. Ramping up the tones and stuff like that to get us to wake up, so that it's not such a hard start to the heart. But I just want to impress on everybody that you know I know there's a saying out there, YOLO, you only live once. Well, that's not exactly true for me. You only die once. You're only supposed to die once, but you live every day, and I want you to live every day, and I want you to live happy and healthy every day. So the premise behind the Facebook page, uh, in the beginning, you have to start building a following. You have to put content out there to get people interested in it, and uh, it's going to be moving in a direction where we're going to start providing healthy recipes for dinner, things that will help folks. control their diet, and then we'll move on into some physical fitness and some mental fitness and emotional health and how to deal with distress, eustress, my stress, his stress, whoever's stress, chief stress, so that we're all living a healthier lifestyle. And the reason it's called Have a Heart, the class, is because all this deals with the heart. All these deaths, they're not lung failures or kidney failures or anything like that. They're heart attacks, and we need to do better, because I know most of you have probably already noticed that people aren't beating down the door to get this job anymore. It is the best job in the world, but not a lot of people know that. And I think with the help or the hurt of social media, you know, people see that this job isn't the safest or healthiest job. Uh, they see that there's a lot of deaths occurring, and that turns people off from applying. And it makes it harder to do our job when there's only 3 people on the rig than it is with 4 people on the rig. So this isn't just about our own personal health. This is about the health and the well-being of the fire service as a whole and our crew. Because we don't want to be the weakest link. We don't want to be the person that is the reason for the RIT team coming in. We don't want our buddy having to drag us out because we can't drag our own self out. So I want everybody to take a look at how you're living your life, what you're eating, how much you're sleeping, and how much time you're spending with your family, how much time you're spending at work. I want you to think about all these things, and I want you to think about how can you make your life better. And I think one of the easiest things to start with is food. We all got to eat. And I know that I've had some issues, with my health. My blood sugar is a little high, and I've been trying to combat that, with laying off the sugary drinks and uh, reading the labels on the food that I eat, and trying to stay a little healthy, stay away from the carbs, stay away from the sugars, stay away from the alcohol too. And I can tell you that I stopped drinking beer for about a month and a half. And in that month and a half, without doing anything else, I lost 9 pounds. And I also went down 2 holes in my belt. So I know that'll work. And I'm not gonna get into stories about I can drink more than you, and I'll go home and drink all day. That's not what we're here for. But I can tell you that I drank a lot. And when I wasn't at work and I wasn't at my volunteer house, I was drinking, and quite a bit. And it was not healthy. I started to notice that I was having a problem with how much I drank and how long I drank. And I would wake up the next morning wondering if I did anything stupid the day before. Did I stay up all night and make a whole bunch of phone calls? Did I make a dumb post on Facebook or Instagram? Did I piss somebody off? Did I ruin a relationship? Did I break something? Did I do something that's going to get me put in jail? And it's not a good feeling. So I learned that that's one of the steps to becoming healthier. Is to cut back on the drinking, and the thing that really helps me keep going with it is when I see people that I haven't seen for a little while. They're like, "Hey, Brucey, man, you're looking like you're losing some weight," and it really helps. Little things like that, and people still mess with me about my size, and that's okay. I got thick skin. I take it and I give it whatever. I've been around a long time. Ain't much you can say to hurt my feelings. Can't think of anything that would. But uh, all jokes aside, you know, watch what you're putting in your body. There's a lot of stuff out there that will hurt you and it won't help you. And one of those substances is alcohol. And I'm not saying that you need to go home and dump it all out and quit drinking completely, but you need to you need to find a way that if you know you have a problem to stop. And if you can't stop it yourself or can't find a way, then get some help because alcoholism also causes heart disease. It does a lot to damage your body. So I want I want everybody to know that, and I want everybody to take that seriously. It took me a good bit to decide. I really do have a problem, even after some folks had said something. And I have a best friend that is I know he's at least 60 days sober now, and I applaud him. He has a different line of work, uh, and he would drink every day, or I mean every night after he got home from work. And he's my best friend. And I worry about him, but it's good seeing him do that and get through that in his life. And you know, since then, me and him have had some hard conversations and um, uh, some time where maybe we can't be around each other because I'm still a bad influence because I refuse to give it up completely. And you know but I'm there for him. And you should be too. uh, whether you have a problem or your somebody on your crew has a problem or somebody in your life in general has a problem, you need to be there for them and be that support because those people need it. They need somebody to be there for them, and they need to know that there's people there for them that care and that are going to push them to success and are going to be there to help them be successful because it's not easy. And it wasn't easy for me to stop drinking the way I was. uh, and even now, one of the guy that owns the liquor store that I would go to, him and I are pretty good friends because I used to see him just about every morning that I got off shift, and came home. I would be in there buying a case of beer or a bottle of whiskey, and sometimes a couple of each. And we gotten to be pretty good friends, and I miss that friendship. But also, I know that I can't go in there and always trust myself that I'm not gonna decide, well, a little bit won't hurt, and then a little bit turns into a lot of bit, and then we got a problem again. So if you find that you can't do it yourself, please reach out. There's people out there to help. Uh, we'll put some of that information in the comments, and if you feel like you need to, if you want to reach out to me and say, hey man, uh, what did you do? How did you stop? Uh, or you're having a tough time in your life and you feel like you need a friend or something like that, you can reach out to me. I'll be there because I want you to be happy and healthy and successful, and I want you to get through whatever's going on. But we want everybody to be healthy. So some of those things that we need to cut out, along with the alcohol, is sugars. Years and years and years and years ago, they said, "Oh, too much salt's bad for you," but they never said anything about sugar. It was all about the sodium, and sodium leads to heart disease and all this stuff. And it seems like the government and their health schemes change with the whim of politicians and food manufacturers and drug manufacturers and all that kind of stuff, because they got to make a living too. They're out here fighting off all the things that they create. So you need to seek medical health. I'm not a professional at this. I'm learning as much as I can, and I'll pass on that knowledge to everybody as much as I can. But sugar is the devil. Sugar is addictive. It's just as addictive as alcohol. It's just as addictive as cigarettes. It's just as addictive as Zyn. It's just as addictive as coffee. It's just as addictive as Monsters. All that stuff. They put sugar in foods to get people addicted to them. And you're not eating foods for the food. You're eating it for the sugar. Because once your body starts craving it, you have to have it. You have to live on it. Just like being addicted to crack or heroin or cocaine or energy drinks, all that stuff. Your body's going to need it. So the less you give it to your body, the more it's going to crave it for a while. And you'll go through withdrawals, just like cutting out alcohol, just like stopping drugs, all that stuff. You got to get clean. You got to get it out of your system. And it takes about a month. Once you cut down on your sugar intake, it takes about a month before that withdrawal goes away. So every year, you should get a physical if you're in this job. I'm a huge proponent of that, because before I thought, under 45, everybody should be healthy unless you feel like you got a problem. Well, you might have a problem you might not know about, or you might have a problem you might not want to talk about, and you might not want to deal with it yet. And I'm telling you that it's better to do it sooner than later, because I've seen it happen tons of times with plenty of folks where they let something go and go and go and go and go because they thought they were being strong. And, I'll just deal with it. I'll just deal with it. It'll be all right. It'll go away. It'll work itself out. Sometimes problems don't just work themselves out. And the sugar problem is one of those problems. When I got my A1C checked the other day, it was 5.9. And I looked it up. And the reason I had to get my A1C checked is because this year at my annual physical, my fasting blood glucose, they said, was 161, which I think is fucking horseshit. There is no goddamn way. But years prior, it's been kicking up there, 121, 126. So we're pushing that threshold of type 2 diabetes. And as funny as it is to impersonate old Wilford Brimley in the diabetes, we don't want that, because when you get to type 2 diabetes, if you can't control it with your diet, you have to take medication. And the reality of that is that you're probably going to be on that medication for the rest of your life. Medications are expensive, and I have enough problems remembering what time to wake up in the morning So I'll be damned if I'm going to remember to take that pill every damn morning. So unless you want to have that problem, you need to fix it. So start paying attention to what you're eating. Cut out the sugars. Cut down on the alcohol. I'm not even going to get started on the nicotine and the Zen and, what everybody else is doing nowadays. Because long time ago, I used to smoke cigarettes. I'd smoke about a pack a day. And then for a while, after I got tired of cigarettes, I was chewing Red Man out of the pouch. So I get it. But you do what you do to take care of yourself. And if you've got to have nicotine to live, then you're going to have to find it somewhere. But watch what you're putting in your body. Look at the labels. Read what's in the stuff that you're eating. If you can't pronounce the ingredients, it ain't natural. It didn't come from the ground. And it probably ain't an animal part. Because what do we say about them chemicals and stuff? All the ethyl methyl bad shit? That's hazmat. It's toxic. They have words that I can't pronounce. They have a whole bunch of jumbled up letters together that nobody knows how to say. If the stuff that you're putting in your body looks like something that you would get a call for if a tanker flipped over on the highway, you probably shouldn't be eating it. Throw that shit away. I know there's tons and tons and tons of stuff out there that's processed and it's easy and it may say that it's good for you. They can say low sugar on there all they want. Low sugar don't mean no sugar, honey. So pay attention. Don't fall for the gimmicks. Just because it says heart smart and all this other stuff doesn't mean in reality that it really is all that good for you. You need to get back to eating more natural, real foods. And I get it. There's times when you don't feel like cooking. There's times when we're busy on shift. There's times when you got t-ball and football and jazz band and kids concerts and all these other events, with the kids and the family, and maybe you don't have time, but maybe you can make time and meal prep. That's a thing sometimes. And I get it. If you got to stop by Burger King or whatever, maybe don't get the triple quarter pounder with cheese. Maybe get the chicken sandwich and throw the bread away and just eat the chicken and the vegetables. I'm not telling you how to live your life, but I am telling you how to live your life. Be healthy, goddammit. But the kitchen table is a place where we can all sit and talk about all these things and get all this stuff out. And you can take an ass chewing, and you can give me an ass chewing, and we can solve all the world's problems. But we can't solve anybody's problem if we're the ones having problems. So take care of your health. And I also want to let everybody know, near and dear friend of mine, Griffin and Michelle, the Stash Salt family, their daughter has scoliosis and she's going in for surgery here very soon. So we're going to try and raise some money to help them out. We're going to be waffling off at least one Hit It Hard from the Yard radio strap. And you can find all that information out on my Facebook or the Bruce Fire Equipment LLC Facebook. and I might even put it up on the kitchen table Facebook. So go check it out. And if you can donate, that's great. If you want to take a chance at winning the radio strap, uh, put in for it. And we might be doing some other stuff too. In the future, I'm probably going to get some more demo equipment to be able to raffle or waffle or giveaway, I mean. So keep your eye out. And thanks for coming out. Have a good night. Be safe. Love you.